In this video, I'm going to hopefully explain why I think learning a language and doing so at GCSE, it is very important, and why it could open your career prospects. Later on, we will see what topics you would be studying at GCSE and how you would be assessed on them. So let's begin with how I think languages could be useful for your future. There is a common misconception that languages are only useful if you want to either work in teaching or as a translator. So literally works directly related with languages. But in my view, that is a common misconception. Because if you think about it, especially in the global world we live in, with so many global corporations and companies operating outside the confines of the United Kingdom, it's so important, in my view, to be able to communicate in another language. Say, for example, you work in the aviation sector. Not many people know, for example, that Heathrow Airport here in the UK is owned and operated by a Spanish company called Ferrovial, the largest airport and infrastructure company in Spain, and definitely one of the biggest in Europe. Another fact, for example, maybe you have never considered, is that Spain is the second largest car manufacturer in Europe, only second to Germany. So say, for example, you decide to go for the vehicle manufacturing industry, and you might find yourself, especially if you become a middle manager, in need to communicate with Spain, either to purchase parts or so on. So once you start thinking about it, you might then say, oh, hang on a second, actually, I think languages are a bit more useful for my future than I thought at first they were. So always consider that when you are selecting your options. Now, in a split second, I'm going to talk to you about what the key topics you're going to be learning about and what the assessments consist of. But before that, what I would like to show you something, and if you could please send me what you think the answer for these questions I'm about to ask you is. It would be nice to hear from you. I'm going to try to give you 5 positive points for the first person that emails me on amares, A-M-A-R-E-S, at lashs.org.uk with the correct answer to the question I'm about to ask you. Okay, I don't know if you can recognize this t-shirt. Okay, I bought these years ago. As you probably all know, even if I don't teach you, I am from Spain. So this is this was actually the national team's football t-shirt. So have a look at the emblem here. Can you see what's missing? There is something missing on the t-shirt's emblem. Do you know what the answer is? What's missing? I bought these quite a few years ago. So something has happened that should have changed, so to speak, the emblem in here. If you know the answer, could I ask you please to send me an email? Again, I'm going to give you my email address just in case, to amares, A-M-A-R-E-S, at lsh.org.uk. And the first person that emails me the correct answer is going to get some house points. Okay, so without further ado, I am going to continue explaining to you very briefly what the topics you're going to be learning about are at GCSE over the course, remember, over the course of years 10 and 11. So all the different units we're going to be learning about are grouped, so to speak, into three main themes. Theme 1, the name for this theme is Identity and Culture. The fourth unit in this theme, it's one about festivals and the cultural aspect of and the traditions of the language you are learning, whether it's French or Spanish. So in Spanish, for example, you learn about the Tomatina festival and many more. In French, you would be learning about the Festival of Lights and so on. So that is actually quite a major shift in the emphasis from the previous specification, from the previous type of exams, which I personally welcome. I think it makes learning the language much more interesting. Then the second theme is about local, national and international global areas of interest. Things like environmental issues, describing a local area, and so on. Then theme 3 is you will learn to describe what you're currently studying and what your future plans for study and employment are. So if you have a look at this, it's not really that dissimilar to what you've been learning in Key Stage 3 in Year 7, 8 and 9. In fact, our program of studies are developed in such a way that we cover, for the most part, all these topics. So you will not really be having to learn a lot of new vocabulary. You will find yourselves many a time being already familiar with the topics we will be covering, which I personally believe it's a plus. So to finish, how will you be assessed? So we have 4 skills in languages which are assessed: listening, reading, writing and speaking. In previous specifications, they had different ways. For example, writing and speaking were worth more for the final grade. Now they are weighted at exactly the same percentage. One thing though is in our subject we have 2 tiers of entry. The foundation tier, where the highest grade you can possibly get is a 5. The advantage of it is that it has easier exam. The disadvantage obviously is that the highest grade, even if you get a perfect score in all the exams, it's only a 5. Alternatively, you also can sit at the end of Year 11, of course, the higher tier exams. Those exams obviously are a bit more challenging, but they could allow you to achieve grades from 4 to 9. As I said, the exams are weighted at 25% of the final mark, so each of those 4 exams is equally important. For you to get the highest possible final mark in this exam. Well, this is it for me. I've tried to cover very briefly the basics of what studying a language at GCSE consists of. As you probably know, having studied with us languages in Key Stage 3 and 4, we have a vast array of resources at your disposal. We have revision guides, we have different website subscriptions free for you in order to practice and consolidate the vocabulary and so on. And you will be fully supported by our team in MFL. So I suppose that this video will still have left you with some questions. If you have any further question, you want to know more, you want to find out more about GCSE languages in MFL, please do not hesitate to contact me by email. I'm going to repeat my email again: amares, AMARES @lshs.org.uk. And please do not forget to email me as well to give me the answer for my question about the Spanish football national team emblem. I hope to see you all soon, hopefully taking languages for GCSE. Bye bye.